One of my favorite things about shooting classic cars is that they all have stories. And I can't wait to introduce you guys to Chris, talk about his 64 Chevelle, and some of the stories that come with this car. This one's gonna be a fun one, you guys. Hey guys, what's up? This is Chris and his 64 Chevelle. We just found out about this car recently. It's got a story to it. They all have stories.
They all have
them.
stories, man.
You bought the car sight unseen because you liked the way it looked.
Never buy cars sight unseen. First, real quick, I had a 64 Chevelle after high school, white, hardtop, super sport, factory AC. So I always wanted another. And this popped up on eBay. You know, it looked really good. LSX 454. I reached out to the seller. I sent him a list of questions. He answered those questions. Everything sounded good. Being crazy, I pulled the trigger, bought the car, had it shipped to California. And the second it came off the trailer, the guy fired it up, bring it off the trailer, drove it around the block, and the rear axle was howling. It just had a lot of problems. Transmission problems. The transmission has two connectors on it that were swapped. The car would overheat. It would do just a lot of things that made it undrivable.
Yeah.
I spent 3.5 years just blowing the car apart. I took everything off of this car except for the front fenders, the bumpers, the convertible top, the doors, and the trunk lid. The rest of it came apart. I think I got a good deal for the car.
Yeah.
Because I know that he bought the car for what I paid for the car, and he threw all kinds of money at this. There was just so many small modern parts inside this thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't get screwed, and I built my dream.
Yeah.
It just took a few years, and I planned on it. That's what I was planning to do.
But you did it all, most of it all yourself, yeah?
All of it except for the exhaust system. I did not do the exhaust system.
Gotcha. And the car is beautiful.
Thank you.
It's a pretty car.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
It's really pretty car. Wow, bitchin'.
So LSX 454, 4L80E. I built this air box. I had the car tuned at New Era Performance. We went for a drive, and he's got his laptop, and he says, stick it. And it was a hot day, and he immediately pulled mass timing, and he saw, dude, you're losing like 100 horsepower. We popped the hood, and air cleaner's sitting right here, and it's just sucking all the exhaust in. I built this box here. It's double walled, insulation inside, overkill, but it breathes. This area is open on a 64 Chevelle.
Yeah.
So it's breathing right behind the headlight.
So what do you make power-wise with it now?
I took it in and I told Alex, I said, I just want a street tune. These are rated at 620. I came out with a 500 at the wheels, so 500 squared, 500 torque and horsepower.
Yeah, you could dial it up if
I
you
could
wanted
dial
to.
it up, yeah.
So what else mechanically did you have to, kind of from front to back? Because you said you did a new rear end. What's on there?
That is a quick performance, 350 gears. I wanted it bulletproof. That's good to 1,000 horsepower, so I won't be breaking that.
Right.
Disc brakes in the rear, and then that was pretty much the first thing I did, and then start working out why the transmission was misbehaving.
It sounds really good.
Yeah, so these are Hedman headers, and then Borla S-type with the resonators, and then they're all the way out the back.
3-inch?
2.5.
So it is a boosted brake, yeah?
Yeah, hydro boost, yeah. That was one of the high dollar things this guy put in here. There's so much money that this guy spent, $1,000 for the radiator, whatever, hydro boost, because there's so much cam, you gotta have that.
Yeah.
There's just so much that he spent money on that I took advantage of, and I basically got for free.
And you said it didn't have AC and you added AC to the car?
I did the AC to the car, yeah. And the factory AC on these cars, they cut the dash separately. I don't know why they did that. Chevrolet did that in a lot of cars back then, so they didn't have cut dashes. Through the Chevelle forums, I found a guy who's got a metal template that I could put over it, draw this funky shape, because it's the weirdest shape, and then I had to cut all that out. You can buy the outside bezel, but none of the components behind that exist. So I had to 3D print and design all those parts, and I meticulously went in and built all the linkage so it all works as it should. That was a monstrous undertaking for sure.
Yeah. Is it Willwood all the way around the car?
No, it is not. It's basically standard discs all the way around, which if anybody wants to contribute, there'll be a GoFundMe for any parts you don't like that are on this car. Because I know people are just gonna go, "What? You're insane for not having that." But and I'm not racing this car. This car is not.
It's a street cruiser.
Yeah, the guy before me built this to be a drag car.
Yeah.
Which is insane to me.
With a convertible.
With a convertible, it makes absolutely no sense. You know, it's got a hoop in the back and it had harnesses in it. You know, I like to tell you a story of how your channel changed some of the outcome of this car. The big moment where you were involved in that car accident. I know I saw the comments, everybody went crazy and said what they had to say, but I saw something different.
Yeah.
What I saw was myself driving around with harnesses in the car and not wearing them, okay? And my wife,
so many of us.
My wife and I would get in the car and we would only put them, oh, we're going to Santa Barbara, so now we'll wear the harnesses, but oh, I'm only gonna run over the liquor store, I'm not gonna wear them.
Oh yeah, dude.
And when I saw that, I said, I'm done with this. I'm not racing the car. So I took all that out. It's still got the hoop in the back here where the harnesses used to connect, but I got these seat belts with retractors. I put the retractors in where the ashtrays go. And then these hoops these came from like a 2015 Mustang convertible and that go through the headrest so to hold these up. Now you get in the car, you put on your seatbelt every single time and you're safe.
Just great. Dude.
And that came directly from your channel.
That's cool. I like that. Boy, people lit up in the comments.
Oh my God.
You know, and the funny part to us was, I remember it was Kyle's idea. We weren't gonna make a video out of that. It was an opportunity for us to educate people on shit that might happen.
And I was one of them.
So all the people that wanted to hate us for that, cool, in the nicest way I can say it, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because
I agree.
When I see this because of that video, cool, we made a difference in one person's life, and that's all that mattered to me about that video. And it's a lot of people, dude. I've had so many people that have called me, texted me, messaged in every form possible about changes that they made to their cars because of that.
Absolutely.
You know? How about, is it still the original frame under the car?
Yeah, of course it's a convertible, so it's all boxed front to rear. One of the things about cars of this era is the flex in the frame was part of the ride quality. You got flex in all of the car to give it a smooth ride. Yeah. And I've eliminated a lot of that, the low profile tires, stiff suspension being lowered. So it is very firm, and I'm not autocrossing or any of that, but there's still flex in the car that does take up some of these streets we got here in Los Angeles, you know.
What have you done suspension on the car?
So this is UMI front to rear,
okay,
except for the lower control arms in the front. But I did
four-linked rear then?
Yeah, it's a factory rear end setup, but all UMI components. Bilstein shocks all the way around that, and UMI springs. So basically their whole kit front to rear.
What are the wheels and what are the sizes and tires and all that
So these are Kois, and these are 18s and 20s, and it's a small wheel car, so those are 225s and 245s in the rear.
Okay.
So I don't have a lot of
Because it's not a tubbed car, because then you got to start messing with all your interior, obviously. Yeah. I can tell you put thought into not only what you were buying, a convertible. You obviously didn't accidentally get a convertible. And because it's that, it already sets the tone for the kind of driving you're doing. You know, at 500 at the tire, you already have more power than you probably ever use in the car.
Or can connect.
Yeah, for sure.
But this car isn't a drag car. It's not a race car. This car was built for burnouts and bank jobs. Yeah. And that's it.
I love it. What are these seats, by the way?
Pro Car.
I love their seats, dude.
I got you a cup holder, by the way.
I love people that watch our videos. They know things that I like cup holders.
So we did
crazy in here, dude. This center console is.
Yep. So I made all that, and
really
another cue from your channel is this material right here. This is drum wrap material.
That's cool, dude. I like that.
So another cue from your channel.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
By the way, you guys, Chris has a YouTube channel also.
Open Rotor, but it's Open Rotor Garage, so you can find it.
Been to 30 countries, and my favorite part of the 30 is that 15 of those countries he explored on a motorcycle.
Yeah, Indian motorcycle.
Freaking badass.
Yeah, I've documented all on my channel.
So this is all stock here, right?
Yeah, so that's factory. I did replace this because I wanted the factory AC vent right here. This is a factory vent location, but I cobbled together parts from Vintage Air for this vent, and then I 3D printed everything behind it that doesn't exist. So you can buy these bezels, and this ball is from a Pontiac, but everything behind it I had to recreate. And I made those available for other people, so other people are cutting their dashes and buying these 3D printed parts and putting AC in their cars. When I did the AC, the wiring was horrendous. It was like the only thing they never did in this car when they restored it. So I rewired the entire car, and then I built the console. And the console in itself is its own little trick. It's got 2 pockets right here for your cell phone that wirelessly charges it.
Yeah.
It's got an 8-track player.
Was that just for the nostalgia of it?
Yeah, and I have a large 8-track collection.
Do you really?
Yeah, I got.
You're a weirdo,
I
man.
know. Well, if yeah, you have no idea how much how weird I am when it comes to audio. Yeah, so 8-track player, EQ. I 3D printed all this.
And then is this like a Bluetooth?
Yeah, retro stereo.
Yeah.
It's got rear air conditioning. So that's all 3D printed stuff back there. So the ducts themselves came from a Vintage Air, and then everything else all the way through is all created.
Have you replaced gauges, or are these original gauges?
Those are the factory gauges. Some of them work. Speedometer works. It's got a digital decoder remote box. That's down in the console as well.
I'm just really impressed, dude, that how much of the stuff you did on your own. You know, I get it, like a lot of the car was already here, but so many things that you've done, including bringing 3D printing into play.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell when you pop this open, this is wood console.
Yeah, the whole thing is actually wood.
Yeah, and added in little pockets here. I mean, that's just thoughtful towards like going out and enjoying driving your car.
What I didn't want in this car was any screens. What happens is when I tell people you can charge your phone right here, the phones go in the pocket. And they're not doing
these are
this.
Charging also?
Yeah, they're wireless chargers. So you put your phone in there and they wireless charge. So when you get to your destination, your phone's charged, but you're not holding the phone all the time. That's what I wanted. No screens in the car.
That is fantastic, man. I got to tell you, dude, seeing an old school EQ like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm an audio guy. I was a musician my whole life.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I like great audio, you know, I really do. And I mean, I can just look at the arc of things here and go, yeah, I'd be right about the same place. I'd drop my low mids.
Yep.
You know, like
Scoop the mids, crank the highs and lows.
Seriously, dude. Well, brother, let's go drive this car.
Yeah, sounds good.
But I tell you, man, I'm genuinely impressed with what you've done here, Chris. So you guys have probably noticed at the beginning and end of every episode, we're putting up graphics of all of the sponsors that have joined the team, and we're stoked to have every one of these guys on board. Our most recent one, and it's a real fun one for us, is MagnaFlow Exhaust. Great partner, great people, great products. Love having them. MagnaFlow, thanks you guys. Appreciate you being here. Now let's jump back into today's episode. Yeah, this car sounds good.
Thank you.
I like it.
Yeah, she gets lively when you get into it.
Oh, I'll bet. Boy, for a perfect weather day,
Yeah.
drop the top, cruise. No wonder you've done drives to, like you said, NorCal.
Yeah. I drive this thing's got
Vegas.
15,700 miles on it.
Wow,
So
man.
we drive it.
Wow.
And this has got stone chips on it. It's getting worse, but once you've built it, what is it for? And everybody's got their own idea.
For sure.
But for me, I'm going to drive it. It's going to get stone chips in it, and that's just the way it is.
That's the way it goes. You know, I got to tell you, I'm driving the car, not really saying much about the car, and the reason is, this car just drives fantastic, dude.
Drives like a car.
It's really nice. Your upgrades to the suspension make it better, but it still feels classic car. It's not, you haven't overly refined it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not against that. I love the cars that are ridiculously refined, from modern chassis to suspension components, what have you. You know, I'm in that age bracket where there's certain things about this, the way it drives, that bring back memories of cars I grew up driving, you know, being in as a kid.
I've always been a chrome guy, and I've always like the factory chrome on cars. In '64, they did away with the chrome. A lot of it, no chrome spears down the side.
Yeah,
A lot of the chrome went away, probably, you know, cost savings thing. But
Sure.
I just love, you know, like a '57 Chevy, you know?
Yeah.
Feel free.
I see what you mean, though. I would definitely change the stall converter.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you know your car. You could tell I barely put my foot in it, and it did downshift.
Yeah.
But it really, like, it's a nice, really nice cruising car, man.
Southern California top down.
Seriously. You know, and it's not as warm as I gave credit for. Once we got some airflow, like right now,
Yeah.
I'm totally comfortable in here with the top down, man.
These bottom vents bring so much cal air through. The ventilation
And that's
on
just
these,
natural air coming through,
Yeah.
not air conditioned,
no
right?
air conditioning.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Really nice. Puts a smile on my face, dude.
Good.
That's
Glad.
that is what it's about, isn't it, man?
Absolutely.
I'm sure as many miles as you have, it still puts a smile on your face when you go for a
Every
cruise.
time.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right. That is fun, man.
Nice. Yeah, dude.
Fun, man.
Car boogies, dude.
Yeah, she
You know,
moves.
like-
She moves.
I heard that second gear little chirp.
Yeah.
What a great car, dude. I'm cracking up that we're doing this in a convertible.
Yeah, man. It's perfect weather. That was fun.
Big cloud of smoke back there, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, this car parties. I dig it.
Burn out some paint jobs, man.
Along with a really cool story on this car comes an actually great car. I enjoyed the hell out of driving it. When Chris got in the seat and put his foot in it, it does all the right things you expect. No, it's not gonna freak you out, but that's not what he built. He built a car that has over 15,000 miles on it. That is a driver's car. Absolutely loved this. Hope you guys had fun hanging out and watching what we do, and see you in the next one, man. Later.